face and voice of Africa. The story of resurgent and burgeoning Africa is here, only on the Pulse of Africa channel. Pulse of Africa, the face and voice of Africa.
Hello, I am Sami Mohammed, your host for this hour's news. Stay tuned. The 43rd UNESCO General Conference held in Samarkand, Uzbekistan, has officially adopted Swahili as an additional working language of UNESCO, a historic milestone for Africa and its cultural heritage. The proposal, spearheaded by Tanzania and strongly supported by several countries including Ethiopia, Kenya, Uganda and South Africa, marks the first time in history that an African language has gained official working status within UNESCO. UNESCO officials said the inclusion of Swahili reflects the organization's commitment to linguistic diversity, cultural identity, and inclusive multilateralism, ensuring that African voices are better represented in global discourse. Spoken by more than 200 million people across East, Central, and Southern Africa, Swahili has long served as a bridge of communication, unity, and Pan-African identity. It's already recognized as an official language of the African Union and several regional bodies, underscoring its growing global influence. The adoption of Swahili not only elevates Africa's linguistic heritage to the global stage, but also reinforces the continent's role in shaping international communication, education, and diplomacy. President Hakainde Hichilema of Zambia held official talks with Israeli President Isaac Herzog at State House Lusaka during Herzog State. The visit follows the reopening of Israel Embassy in Lusaka in August 2025 and builds on President Hichilema's 2023 visit to Israel, marking a milestone in bilateral relations. The leaders discussed cooperation under the 2023 General Framework Agreement, focusing on agriculture, water, health, education, renewable energy, trade, and technology. President Hichilema highlighted Israel's precision irrigation programs and climate-smart agriculture, while President Herzog reaffirmed Israel's commitment to supporting Africa in food security, technology, and innovation. The visit is expected to deepen partnership, boost investment opportunities, and expand educational and technical collaboration between Zambia and Israel. African experts have reaffirmed the indispensability of collective commitment, cooperation, and homegrown solutions in addressing the challenges of migration and internally displaced persons across the continent. The fifth ordinary session of the Specialized Technical Committee on Migration, Refugees, and Internally Displaced Persons is currently underway under the theme Reimagining Immigration and Pivoting Humanitarian Architecture in Africa. During the opening session Monday, Herve Kouate, UNHCR representative to the African Union, and the UN Economic Commission for Africa emphasized that the session is not only a forum for dialogue, but also a platform to translate commitments into action. He also stressed the need to develop policies that project migrants, refugees, stateless persons, and IDPs efficiently while advancing Africa's vision for sustainable development.
Inclusive policies and engaging all segments of society in addressing migration. Today's STC session is not only a forum for dialogue, but a platform to translate commitments into action and demonstrate our resolve to consider policies that protect migrants, refugees, stateless persons, and internally displaced persons in an efficient way, while advancing Africa's vision for sustainable development.
Enos Chiombe, Deputy Director General of the Department of Immigration of the Republic of Zambia and outgoing chair of the committee, also noted the need for Africa-led humanitarian responses to current challenges. Chiombe also called the sustained attention to migration, forced displacement, and refugee issues, underscoring the importance of harmonizing efforts among regional economic communities and member states.
For too long, our humanitarian efforts have been dependent on external resources and actors. This vulnerability we must urgently address to support the doctrine of African solutions to African continent. We must strengthen our principles of harmonizing with other regional economic communities and member states to ensure seamless coordination between African Union, humanitarian, the regional economic communities, and the national structures to create a unified and efficient continental response mechanism.
This is Africa, the cradle of humanity, the frontier of the future, a land of visionaries, creators and pioneers, a continent of unstoppable energy where innovation meets tradition, where voices rise, loud and fearless.
I am an African.
This is the heartbeat of 1 billion people, diverse, bold, united by a single purpose to tell our own stories in our own way. No borders, no barriers, no filters. A new era of African storytelling is here. From every corner of the continent, from the bustling cities to the quiet villages, we tell Africa's story by Africans for the world. This is the land of a rising Africa, where Africa speaks and the world listens. This is why today we bring you POA, Pulse of Africa, the face and voice of Africa.
More than 130 gold and bronze artifacts taken between the 1870s and early 20th century were returned to Ghana on Sunday. They were delivered by Britain and South Africa to King Otumfuo Osili Tutu II at the Manhia Palace Museum in Kumasi. The artifacts, including royal regalia, drums, and ceremonial gold weights, dating between 45 and 160 years old, the deep-seated government systems, spiritual beliefs, and the role of gold in Ashanti society. The King thanked South Africa's mining company Angelo Gold Ashanti for returning several items purchased on the open market. Other artifacts came from the Brabier Muller Museum in Geneva, assembled by collector Joseph Muller in 1904. One of them is a wooden drum believed to have been seized during the siege of Kumasi by British colonial forces in 19th. The Ashanti Kingdom was a powerful and a wealthy state and ruled much of Ghana from the late 70s to the early 20th century before being annexed by Britain in 1901. A major step toward advancing financial inclusion has been taken in the Central African Republic as the International Finance Corporation signed a new agreement in Bangui with the Ministry of Finance, Ecobank Group, and Orange Africa. The partnership aims to expand access to digital financial services, particularly for women, youths, and small and medium-sized enterprises. Under this initiative, 300 new mobile money agents will be trained to strengthen financial networks across the country. The move is expected to enhance digital transactions, promote entrepreneurship, and reduce barriers to finance access in one of Africa's least banked economies. Officials noted that this collaboration reflects CAR's commitment to modernize its financial ecosystem and leveraging technology to empower underserved communities and drive inclusive economic growth. Now to business news. Kenya reaffirmed its commitment to deepening bilateral relations with the United Arab Emirates under the Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, focusing on trade, investment, and economic cooperation to drive growth and job creation. A Kenyan delegation hosted officials from Sharjah, UAE, led by Abdullah Sultan Al Owais, chairman of the Sharjah Chamber of Commerce and Industry, to discuss expanding investment in key sectors. Discussions emphasized infrastructure and energy projects, including Kenyan plan to reach 10,000 megawatt of energy capacity, build 10,000 kilometers of tarmac roads, dual 1,500 kilometer highways. The meeting also focused on expand ports and airports and develop 50 mega dams through public-private partnership. The two nations also explored collaboration in ICT, digital and creative industries, leveraging Kenya's techie-savvy youth to accelerate the country's digital transformation. The partnership aims to unlock opportunities for sustainable growth, increased trade, and shared prosperity for both countries. Senegalese Prime Minister Ousmane Sonko on Saturday rejected any proposal to restructure the country's public debt. He said the measures supported by the International Monetary Fund will be a disgrace for the nation. Speaking at a rally of the ruling party PASTEF in Dakar, Sonko denounced what he described as hidden debt left by the previous administration. He affirmed that this government would meet all financial commitments without seeking debt forgiveness or rescheduling. The Prime Minister's comments came 2 days after the IMF concluded a mission to Dakar that ended without a new loan agreement. According to IMF data, Senegal's total public debt, including obligations of state-owned companies, reached 132 of GDP at the end of 2024, alongside about 4% in domestic areas. Moving to sport news. The Confederation of African Football Playoffs kicks off on Thursday with Cameroon, Gabon, Nigeria and the Democratic Republic of the Congo battling for a spot in the FIFA Intercontinental Playoff Tournament, the final stage before qualification for the 2026 FIFA World Cup. The four sides secured their place as the best runners-up across the 9 African qualifying groups. Only one will advance to the Intercontinental Playoffs in March, keeping alive hopes of joining Africa's 9 automatic qualifiers at next year's Global Showpiece. The playoff matches are expected to deliver high-stakes football as each nation looks to earn the continent's 10th ticket to the World Cup and continues Africa's strong presence on the international stage. Now let's check the current weather forecast. That wraps up our coverage for now. Thanks for staying with us.